Okay, hello and welcome everyone. Welcome to JFD Brokers Traders Tea Time with me, ETHUSD. Today is the 9th of August 2018. So welcome everyone. Welcome to this afternoon session where we're going to have a look at the markets, what's happening with them right now. We're going to have a look at a few instruments that I believe are quite important, and, well, developing quite nicely right now. So, but before we do that, let's quickly have a read through our risk disclaimer. So, the content we produce does not constitute investment advice or investment recommendation. It should not be considered as such, and does not in any way constitute an invitation to acquire any financial instrument or product. As always, a few seconds for you to read the rest, and we can continue. Also, just a very quick reminder of our JFD Brokers website, and specifically our JFD research page, where you can go in and have a look at different analysis that we do on a daily basis. So you can check us out here, and I believe you can find a lot of useful stuff here for yourself. But for now, let's have a look at the markets. Now, the first one I want to touch on is the Nikkei. Now, the Nikkei, the Japanese index here is, well, it's stuck here within this range. And until we kind of get out of this range, to be honest, we're just going to continue observing this one and see how it's going to be bouncing around here, and like I said, wait until it kind of breaks through either of the lower side of the range here at around 22,355 and makes its move lower, or actually it makes a move above this through this upper side of the range at around 22,800, and then could continue pushing higher. So for now, certainly that's the case. Now, if to be honest, to discuss this in more detail, and as you can see, we're still stuck here above this short-term upside support line. Now, if let's say if the index moves out of it through the lower side of the range here, this is the one to watch. This is the one for us to kind of keep an eye on, is this upside support line that could play out nicely here, could hold the price from dropping further, and we could maybe see a rejection here and a move higher. So for now, of course, this is the scenario. If we get a break below this upside support line, now you probably understand that we could see maybe a further decline here towards this 21,750 area, which was marked here by the low of the 11th of July, or even actually towards this 21,460, approximately 450, which was actually the near the lowest point here in July. So keep an eye on that, of course, but these levels, we're going to consider these levels only if we get a nice break here and a close below this upside support line, which for now, to be honest, it seems that it could not be the case, or at least until we actually get a break here below this lower side of the range. On the upside, well, if this gets a break here above this 22,800 level, well, keep your eyes on this next potential area of resistance at around 23,050. Certainly on the way towards that level, we would hit the psychological 23,000, but the 23,050 would be the one to watch, as it was the high here that we had around the 21st of May. Now, if we do get a nice break and a close above this level, this is where it could become interesting for the bulls, as they could potentially drive this one up until this level right here at around 23,500, marked by the high that we saw here around the 1st of February. So this is where the kind of the price could stall for a little bit, probably until the bulls and the bears kind of could figure it out, you know, who will take the driver's seat from here. If it's the bulls, if the bulls remain on the driver's seat, then, well, I mean, we could see a further acceleration here, and maybe even actually we could aim for this 24,140 mark, approximately there, which was the all-time high here we've seen around the 23rd of January. So for now, of course, keep a close eye on this little range here that we've got between the 22,355 and the 22,800, guys. So another index that I really wanted to touch on quickly, and that's S&P JFD, and the S&P, of course, is certainly kind of aiming already, almost like it's not far from this all-time high here at around 28.75 mark. Now this is something we're keeping an eye on closely. As you can see, also we've managed to break this key area of resistance seen around the 25th of July, and that was around the 28.48. So certainly, as you can see, that even though yesterday's candle closed within the kind of the bullish side here, still in the close in the positive, but still it's kind of, to be honest, seems like it wants to correct itself potentially. Maybe even actually we could see it a potential move here like this, where the index could actually retrace a little bit lower here towards this 28.48 mark, and then rebound from it and move higher again. Maybe aim for, like I said, aim for this this all-time high at around 28.75 mark. Now if we do get a break here below this 28.48, now of course not all is lost yet, because as you can see, we're still above this very short-term upside support line that could potentially hold the price from dropping lower, and we could see maybe something of a scenario of like this. And let me just put an arrow here, there we go. So we could maybe see a drop lower here, a rebound from this upside support line, and then another potential move higher here. Certainly this line kind of almost comes in line here with the 21 EMA that we've got here shown as the yellow line, and we could maybe see, like I said, not only a test of that, but also a test of this 21 EMA. And like I said, this could be a potential good area for a bounce. And another push higher, certainly. But if we get a break below this upside support line, then it could add a bit of negative sentiment to it. But to be honest, for us to become really bearish on this one, we would need to see a nice move below not only the psychological 2800, but also below this 2790 level, and this is where we could potentially aim for lower levels. So for now, of course, we're still sticking to the upside until this as long as this upside support line remains intact, we're going to stick to the upside. Let's have a look at the actually let's have a look at one crypto that I really wanted to show you, and that's Ethereum. And I was talking about this one in one of my previous videos, and I was talking about potential test of this downside, this kind of longer term downside resistance line that has been running here since around the 13th of January, and we've managed to test it already from above. And certainly the big question for the lows that probably we've seen here around the beginning, well, actually the beginning around November time 2017. So certainly for now this is the big question, but at the moment, until it's for another move higher. So like I said, but that's until this line is broken. If this line is broken and we get a close below this, then well, we're going to probably look into some lower levels. But for now, this is a nice bounce here. Aim for the 405 level, because as you can see, it held the price nicely here in the beginning of August, but then actually it fell here on the 7th, and we could initially target that 405 mark, and if it doesn't hold, well, it doesn't hold it won't hold the acceleration, let's put it that way. This is where we could then aim for higher levels. So but for now, let's go step by step and let's see what it wants to do with this downside resistance line. Now let's jump into a few pairs now quickly, and certainly the first one I want to touch on is the Aussie dollar. Now the Aussie dollar is at an interesting spot here. Now overall, of course, as you can see, we're still below this downwards moving resistance line, and this has been taken from the peak of the 26th of January, and also from the slightly shorter term perspective, we're still stuck in this little range here between the levels here, between the 0.73 150 on the lower end, and on the upper end here the 0.7445. Now if this continues to trade here not far from this upper bound of this range, well, stay cautious, because like I said, we could maybe also test this downwards moving resistance line, and if we're lucky, actually we could maybe see a break of that. But for us to To take the bullish side on this one, we would need to see also a nice close above this downside resistance line. So for now, keep on monitoring it. Certainly be very cautious. And probably, like I said, to be honest, even if this scenario, we're favoring a potential break here, but to be honest, like I said, we would need to still see a good confirmation break and a close above this downside resistance line before we could act on this, because at the same time, to be honest, it could move lower again, and if you're long here, it could take you out and maybe reverse from this end here and then move higher again. So you probably know the drill, and you've been probably in the situations like this before. So yep, that's why, like I said, we need to see a good confirmation break and a close above this downside resistance line before we're going to take, to be honest, for us to go short here on the slightly longer term. We would need to see a nice good break below the 0.73150, and this is where we're going to consider lower levels and going lower on this pair. Okay, let's now have a look quickly at the another pair, and that's the GBPUSD. Now, this is an interesting one, and as you can see, we are still stuck within this downwards moving channel. We've rebounded nicely from the lower side of it. So now the big question here is, are we going to see actually a bit of a continuation here to the upside? Let's say if this kind of candle today is going to stay positive and it's going to close in the positive zone, are we going to see some let's say moves back to the upside here? So this is of course the big question. For us, for now, we're gonna stay neutral on this one, because like I said, we are not far. Well, we've tested already this lower bound of the falling falling channel, and for us to, let's say, go to start considering at least the upper levels here, we would need to see a nice good break and a close above this 129.10 level, and this is where it could become interesting, because we could start aiming for these higher levels initially, maybe towards this 129.55 mark, and then above that we do have the 129.95, or even actually the psychological 130 level. But of course, let's not get ahead of ourselves too much, and let's see what it wants to do with this level first, the 129.10. So this is going to be the main one to watch right now, and of course keep a close eye on this lower side of the falling channel. If suddenly this breaks it below, breaks it to the downside here, and closes below this channel, then well, this is not looking good for the pair overall, and we could see maybe further declines. But for now, stay sharp here, guys, and keep an eye on these levels. And the last pair that I really wanted to touch on, and that's NZDJPY, and for this one I need to jump into the daily chart. And as you can see, we're in a nice formation here. We're moving lower. Just let me actually adjust the chart a little bit here. There we go. And we are within this, well, it's difficult to call it a channel, but let's probably call it more of a veg. So of course not an ideal veg, but nevertheless. So as you can see, we're moving now towards this lower side of the, let's call it veg, and we are aiming for this one, for this a touch of that area here. Probably we could end up touching that area today even, and if we do that, well, keep a close eye on today's close. If we get a close below this level here, then well, we could start well, considering lower levels, even lower levels. As you know, the NZD kind of got hit yesterday by the RBNZ, and certainly, like I said, we could see maybe further declines. But for now, all eyes are on this lower side of the falling veg, because if we do get a close above this, and let's say tomorrow's trading is still going to close above this lower side of it, then probably going into next week we could see maybe a bit of a correction back to the upside. Something like this could be possible, but certainly before we kind of consider this, we need to see a nice rejection, good rejection here from this from this lower end of this falling wedge. So guys, I hope you found it useful. Thank you very much for watching and listening. So I hope you have a good for those who are trading the US session, I hope you have a good US session. For those who have finished for today, I hope you have a wonderful evening. And if you want to join me tomorrow morning at my Traders Espresso, and that's 6 o'clock GMT time, 7 o'clock British Summer Time. But for now, thank you very much, and bye-bye.